Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather, and today, here it is, the first in my series of my long-awaited book tour. Now, I have made an entire playlist on my channel for these book tours because A, I have had to divide these current and upcoming ones into several parts, and number two, I have already given you tours of some sections of my bookshelves already, such as my Jane Austen fiction and nonfiction collections and my play collection. So I have included those three videos in the playlist already, and I will be adding any upcoming videos to that playlist as well. So do please check those out if you haven't seen them already. But today I am going to start with my fiction bookshelves. Now I have two bookshelves for fiction, well, two main bookshelves for fiction, and I organize my fiction by author's last name A to Z. Yes, my mother is a librarian, I worked in a library, I organize my own library the same way. It just makes sense to me. This first video will be the first half of my fiction collection, so those are authors A through H. Part 2 will be the next video, being authors I through Z, but technically W. That's as far as my collection goes in the alphabet. Now, something a bit different about this bookshelf tour is that instead of it being just me showing off these books to you, what I'd like to do is, if you are interested in a particular book, or if you have a question about that book, and it could be any question, from what is that book about, to when did you read that book, where did you get that edition, anything at all, please leave those questions in the comments down below, because I would love to do bookshelf Q&A videos in the future where I take those questions that you have left as comments and I answer them in a separate video. So please help me out by leaving a question down below. Like I said, it could be any question at all, and you can look forward to receiving an answer in a future video. Without further ado, let's see my fiction collection. We begin with The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo. The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. Little Women, which includes Little Women and Good Wives by Louisa May Alcott. Disobedience by Naomi Alderman. The Trilogy by Catherine Arden, which includes The Bear and the Nightingale, The Girl in the Tower, and The Winter of the Witch. My Jane Austen collection includes Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Mansfield Park, Emma, Northanger Abbey, Persuasion, Love and Friendship and Other Youthful Writings, or her Juvenilia, and Sanditon, which contains her unfinished works Lady Susan, The Watsons, and Sanditon. I also include Catherine or the Bower, which was started by Jane Austen and completed by Leo Rackus. The Marlowe Papers by Roz Barber. The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. The Figaro Trilogy by Pierre de Beaumarchais. The Mists of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley. The Gemma Doyle Trilogy, which contains A Great and Terrible Beauty, Rebel Angels, and The Sweet Far Thing, all by Libba Bray. And part of the Diviners series, also by Libba Bray, which includes The Diviners and Lair of Dreams. Agnes Grey and the Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. Jane Eyre and Shirley by Charlotte Bronte. And Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Possession by A.S. Byatt. I, Judas by Taylor Caldwell and Jess Stern. Devdas by Saratchandra Chattopadhyay. The Ladies of Grace Adieu and Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. Fanny Hill by John Cleland. A Weekend with Mr. Darcy by Victoria Connolly. The Dido Kent Mysteries, being Belfield Hall and A Gentleman of Fortune by Anna Dean, The Red Tent by Anita Diamant, Bleak House, Little Dorrit, and A Tale of Two Cities, all by Charles Dickens, Blackmore by Julianne Donaldson, The Crimson Petal and the White by Michel Faber, The Barefoot Queen, or La Reina Descalza by Ildefonso Falcones, The Heir Affair and Lost in a Good Book, both by Jasper Fforde, The Adventures of Tom Jones, a Foundling by Henry Fielding, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert, The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett, Maurice, A Passage to India, and A Room with a View, all by E. M. Forster, Virgins, Outlander, A Dragonfly in Amber, and Voyager, all by Diana Gabaldon. Then begins my Neil Gaiman collection, which, as you can see, is quite large. It contains American Gods, Coraline, Fortunately, The Milk, Fragile Things, Good Omens, co-written with Terry Pratchett, The Graveyard Book, Neverwhere, Odd and the Frost Giants, Smoke and Mirrors, Stardust, and Trigger Warning. Cranford, Mary Barton, and North and South, all by Elizabeth Gaskell. The Vesuvius Club by Mark Gatiss, The Princess Bride by William Goldman, Ostentatious and Ostensibly Ordinary, both by Alyssa Goodnight, The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock by Imogen Hermes or Hermes Gower. Then begins the Poldark series by Winston Graham, which begins with Ross Poldark, Demelza, Jeremy Poldark, Morleggan, The Black Moon, The Four Swans, The Angry Tide, The Stranger from the Sea, The Miller's Dance, The Loving Cup, and The Twisted Sword. I have not yet read the last book, which is Bella Poldark. Dear Mr. Darcy, Henry Tilney's Diary, and Mr. Knightley's Diary, all by Amanda Grange. Then begins my Philippa Gregory collection, which is also quite long and which I arrange in historical order. So first we have The Lady of the Rivers, The White Queen, The Red Queen, The Kingmaker's Daughter, The White Princess, The King's Curse, The Constant Princess, The Other Boleyn Girl, The Boleyn Inheritance, and The Queen's Fool. Homegoing by Ya Gyasi, Austenland by Shannon Hale, The Familiars by Stacey Halls, Dear Jane Austen by Patrice Hannon, Chocolat by Joanne Harris, The Gospel of Loki, also by Joanne Harris, The Bishop's Wife by Meta Ivy Harrison, Venetia by Georgette Heyer, and Les Miserables by Victor Hugo.